21 miles wide. That's all that separates the Persian Gulf from the rest of the world. 21 miles of dark water. And right now, the men who control it are telling the planet, you don't pass without our permission. This is the Strait of Hormuz. And the battle for it may be the most consequential confrontation of the 21st century. One that could collapse economies, ignite a regional war, and drag every major power on Earth into the fight. It has already begun. Every morning, roughly 20 million barrels of oil pass through this narrow corridor between Iran and Oman. That's not a statistic. That's the circulatory system of the global economy. Japan's factories, South Korea's shipyards, India's power grid, Europe's heating systems, all of it flows through this bottleneck in the Persian Gulf. For decades, the United States Navy served as the silent guardian of that flow, a leviathan beneath the waves, keeping the arteries of global commerce open by sheer presence and deterrence. But something has shifted, something fundamental. And the world is only now beginning to understand what it means. Iran has declared the Strait of Hormuz closed, not to all shipping, but to its enemies. That word, enemies. In the mouth of a revolutionary state with ballistic missiles, drone swarms, and a network of proxy forces stretching from Yemen to Lebanon to Iraq. That word carries the weight of a threat, backed by real military capability. If your economy runs on oil that flows through this channel, if your lights stay on because tankers move through these 21 miles without interference, then your Navy should be here. Not America's Navy alone. Yours. It is a demand disguised as an invitation, and it reveals something about the current American posture that strategic analysts have been watching develop for years. A United States that is tired of bearing the cost of a global order that it increasingly believes others benefit from more than it does. But here is where it gets complicated. Because a coalition naval force in the Strait of Hormuz is not a deterrent that operates in silence, it is a provocation. It is a signal. And Iran, a country whose entire revolutionary identity is built around resistance to exactly this kind of foreign military presence in its backyard, will respond to it as such. The question is not whether Iran will escalate if a multinational fleet assembles in the Hormuz corridor. The question is how, and whether the world is prepared for that answer. Iran does not need to win a naval battle to close the strait. That is the asymmetric genius of their strategy. They need only to make the passage too dangerous to risk. A single tanker struck by an anti-ship missile, marine insurance rates doubling overnight, a handful of mines laid in the shipping lanes under cover of darkness. The closure of Hormuz is not a military operation. It is a psychological operation, backed by just enough real capability to make the psychology stick. Iran has invested decades and billions of dollars into exactly this capability. Chinese-designed anti-ship missiles, domestically produced drone swarms capable of saturating naval defenses, submarines purpose-built for shallow water operations in the Gulf, and the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps Navy, a force that operates by different rules than any conventional military, trained for swarming tactics that confuse and overwhelm traditional fleet responses. A supercarrier in open ocean is nearly invincible. In the Strait of Hormuz, in those 21 miles, it is a target. Oil markets have already begun to price in the fear. Every percentage point of disruption risk translates to dollars per barrel within hours. A genuine sustained closure of the strait, even for 2 weeks, would trigger a global recession. Supply chains built on the assumption of uninterrupted Gulf flow would fracture. Inflation, already bruising ordinary families in dozens of countries, would accelerate to a roar. And yet the world's response remains fragmented. Cautious, bureaucratically slow in the face of a crisis that moves at the speed of a missile.